Rookie season's here. Time to crack a beer. Producer, hit that button. Welcome once again to the Dynasty Pulse, right here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network and terrestrial radio, talking West Tennessee 105.1. I am Biggs. With me is Greinberg, Coach Retzlaff, and Chev. We are here because we are degenerate, and we're going to draft some rookies. So think of this as a Dynasty Rookie Draft 1.0. This is our pre-Senior Bowl, I almost said January 15th. Look at what a draft board might look like if you had zero combine info, no draft spot, no draft landings, draft capital, all that stuff. Who are the guys? What are they doing in our heads? And where do they land? So that's what we're here to do. How are you guys doing?
We don't even have sleeper loaded. Like, we can't even get anything intel. Like, we are so far ahead of the game here, guys. I mean, there's a lot of networks doing this right now, so stay tuned. We got a lot going on. And Chev, how you doing, buddy?
Oh man, I am cataloging all the different kinds of government cheese.
Cheese enthusiast is what's going on.
That's right,
Coach. What's going on?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've been told in the two leagues that I'm in with somebody that I'm really having a rough time in that league. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around that and just make sure everything's good.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's the wraparound is the hardest thing to do. And
Keyshawn Henderson is already better than Lamar Jackson. There, I said it.
There, you said it. All right, guys, let's get into this show. We got a lot to talk about. We have a mock draft to do, but before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's talk a little bit about this draft board, how we're going to set the stage for this situation. I'm actually at 101, and I got a pretty important pick here, or not. Coach, what do you got?
Yeah, the direction you're going to go in all formats is going to be Jeremiah Love. I can understand and see how Fernando Mania is going to take over for some people, but I would think that would actually make the argument up to the 102 versus 101 is clearly no equivocation. It's going to be Jeremiah Love. My name is Jeremiah. You just check me the next 2 years, and I'm going to be clicking blindly on both Jeremiah Love and Jeremiah Smith. But I think, there's a real argument that you could push Mekhi Lemon, as much as you may like him, to the 102. And I think the stronghold of this playoff run is really going to cement, especially with, and I say cement respectfully, bricked up in the cement. It's going to set up with the Raiders just a beautiful spot. We talk about dogging the Jets, about Dante Moore wanting to duck out on them, but it is night and day. I think you're set up very well. You cannot helmet scout, kind of like with Drake May. When New England Patriots, you cannot helmet scout with him, and then you were on Drake May. You did not miss him. And same thing with Travion Henderson. It's just the players matter. The people matter. So you're going to have Fernando Mendoza throw into Brock Bowers, get Ashton Jeanty, get a more capable offensive line. There's going to be another weapon out there. So your conundrum, Mike, I think is definitely going to be Jeremiah Love. I know you are high on Fernando Mendoza. Do you, Mike, see any scenario where you would select Fernando Mendoza with the 101?
Oof. Maybe. I mean, probably not, though, because there'd be ways out of getting that 101 because, Jeremiah Love is pretty much the guy, right? I mean, in every format, he's the 101, but you have to consider, like, honestly, it's not even close at this part. Even if you strip away landing spot and draft capital, he separates, he checks every box for me. He's got elite athleticism, 3-down versatility, got that proven production, probably a 440 speed at 214 pounds. It's going to be really hard to take down. I like his level here, but there may be an opportunity where I might pivot off that, but it would be really, really tough, in Superflex only. But now he's at a stage where Mendoza, especially shows out this week. And I was mentioning to Biggs on our last show that like I'm really looking forward to seeing him play on Monday because it's going to show me a lot on a really big stage. Does he still have that poise? You know, he's been so efficient, and especially in the red zone. Biggs threw out a stat. I think he's 45 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the red zone over the last 2 years. Incredible efficiency. And I just see him as a guy that is going to create such a high floor for you every week, and that ceiling could probably pop off. Like, you know, there's comparisons to like Brock Purdy and potentially Baker Mayfield is one of the guys that I compared him to as far as the trajectory of their careers might go, as far as, you know, high draft capital and a lot of, you know, things that you could do with that. You know, he's a great pocket passer, maybe not the deep ball, but things that I'm looking for here is like, especially this quarterback class is not insulated now, especially with Moore not sticking around and going. He's afraid of the Jets. So where does that leave us in this quarterback class? So that positionary scarcity might be a tough one for some fantasy dynasty owners that may be, you know, on the move for that 101. So there could be scenarios where he floats in there, especially with a good performance this week. So right now I'm not at that stage, but given a really good Monday performance and we'll see who else declares as well. I mean, there's still guys on the fence here that haven't declared yet. So there could be some situations where Mendoza is a taken over that, and especially when we got to consider where the Raiders coaching staff might develop in this offseason here. Like if they get a veteran coach that's going to put him in a really good situation, upgrade that offensive line, bring in an alpha wide receiver, things could really pop there, and that's what Mendoza really needs to flourish. So if you can hold out and see what happens with the Raiders, if those dynasty drafts are coming a little bit later, and the situation in the Raiderville, there's a lot of variables here that could put him in position to be that 101.
I was going to address that. You're not going to do it on January 15th, but it depends on when your Dynasty Rookie Draft is. Some people like to draft early. Some people like to draft late. My home league doesn't go until like late July, early August. But then I'm in a lot of Dynasty leagues that we start our rookie drafts right after the week after the draft actually happens. So January, it's Jeremiah Love, but talk to me in August in a Superflex league, and there's a really good chance that Fernando Mendoza is the runaway 101 in Superflex.
Yeah, could be there. All right, Chev, I got a question for you here. When drafting, because you're second on the board here, you're drafting early in the cycle. Are you locked in on somebody on the board, or you're looking for your favorite prospect, or are you going in a different direction, you know, thinking outside the box here? Obviously, there's no landing spot, so there's going to be a lot that's going to have to play in here. But this early, what are you thinking? You know, there's not a clear 102 like Coach mentioned.
There's not a clear 102, but you know, we have the advantage of, you know, not necessarily take lock, but if you started to study these guys, if you've been in the film and started to make evaluations, then you kind of have some early leans on that are just talent based, not really rooted in like what teams are going to do, you know. So it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes less information allows you to make a more decisive decision, for lack of a better descriptive to go with decision there. But you have your talent, you bet on the talent, and then, you know, we can fill in with the information later. But I'm going to go with the guys that I feel like have the highest upside and just live with the results here with this draft. And I can't wait for a year from now for somebody to pull this out and be like, oh, well, you said this in January of 2026. So it's going to be great.
Hey, that's a great point, because right now we are in this formative process where you're just doing the exercise. It's a beauty. On PFF, I see we were talking about Jeremiah Love goes to the Chiefs at pick 9 in one of their drafts. And you see mock third to the Cardinals. And you sit there and say, wait, the Cardinals, that's really not what the Cardinals need for their team build. Oh, it's great. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, unrestricted free agents. This could be boom. It's everything you could want, right? The exercise is what's so important. And this conversation, this formative process is really informing even though you can look back in a year and say, hey, off on this, off on that, see how we get closer to these rookie drafts that we are going to have that are real, where you've been doing these reflexive exercises, and we're going to have the benefit of all these reps.
It's the reps. I love that call, their coach. And Biggs, I got a question for you here because
Shoot.
there's some pressure points happening here. And, in Superflex drafts, especially, you don't know where the landing spot is. Where do you feel the pressure points are right now? We talked about the quarterback scarcity, but, elite skill level players like Chev mentioned, or are you waiting for the room to make the first mistake in your position here in the middle?
I tend to watch as the draft board kind of reveals itself, but I feel like the pressure point right now is at both the quarterback and the running back position. There are plenty of wide receivers, and I mean, in the first round, I can see five wide receivers going, and then you're trying to like fill out the rest. You got one quarterback who should go in the first round. You have a couple of running backs that should go into the first round. You have a tight end that maybe has that kind of upside. And then basically you're looking at a couple more spots. Those are probably going to be filled in again by wide receivers. So position scarcity is going to be the key. And then again, a lot has to do with your current build and, whether you made trades for the picks that you're drafting or you just naturally landed with it with a bad finish in 2025. So there's a lot more to play into it, but I think position scarcity is going to be what I'm looking at right now.
I mean, that's a great point, right? I mean, and then that's probably going to be the actual pattern throughout this whole offseason because of how scarcity that is at quarterback right now until we know more. And hopefully in a week from now, when everybody declares, we'll have a little bit clearer of a picture here. And
I don't think there's going to be a lot of people clamoring for Carson Beck, New York Jets quarterback, like high in the first round of their rookie drafts.
Yeah, well, look what happened to a guy like Tyler Shuck this year, and next year he's going to be drafted in that. So if we can actually identify these guys now as potential, that's going to serve us great value in the future. So
that's a great idea. Chev, you want to join me down in Mobile for the Senior Bowl and we can scout Taylon Green and a couple other guys?
Oh, that sounds like a wonderful idea.
Okay.
Biggs, I think that we should do that.
I'll meet you there.
All
there
right.
It is. Well, they're going to bring some intel from Mobile and the Senior Bowl. And then, Coach, you're going to bring us a little bit of intel about your process over situation when landing spot is completely removed from the equation. What traits matter most to you? What makes rookie draft proof this early, man?
Well, the beauty is, take somebody like Jeremiah Love, any kind of finer pinpoint, trying to move a pile, the strength of moving a pile, that might be just a small nitpicky thing. There's granular things at a certain level where, hey, this player could really afford to do this just a little bit more. But you're sitting there saying none of those are deal breakers. So when you get to a point where you have enough traits on a player where the finer things that they could work on are really just granular levels of how they can go from an elite prospect to an elite NFL player, that's where I just wave it all out. I can remember a couple of years ago, A.J. Brown was just a perfect talent. There were a lot of things that he did in the college game, and you would see it on tape, and you'd be like, wow, I cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube after seeing that. I'm going to go out and get him plenty. And you took advantage of a situation where the passing game wasn't ripe. It wasn't a high-volume pass team, and you just didn't see the path necessarily in the rookie season for him, and the helmet scouting thing, like I talked about with the Patriots. So I think the cool thing is, can we match and marry helmet scouting reputation NFL teams that are traditionally bad with absolute ballers as prospects here? And that's where you want to find those things. So if you can find a limit of net negative traits that are so minuscule or getting granular in the weeds to where you're more so pushing at positives that could get just a little bit better, then you're cooking with gas on a player that you want, regardless of situation, landing spot. And then ideally you pray for stuff like that. So they're cast off somewhere where you're like, oh, they're just buried. And then you can go out and get them because you believe in them as a prospect.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, that's a great analysis. I mean, you broke it down great for what we're doing here. And yeah, let's get into this draft here. Actually, Biggs, I got a question for you. You're in a Denny's restaurant or a safe haven for people who've made questionable life choices at 2 a.m. So what are you ordering right now? What's on the menu there?
Well, in honor of my fantasy forecast prediction of the national championship, I'm getting the Moons over Miami.
Moon's over Miami. He's got a Miami winning this game. So
no, I didn't say that. I just said take Miami in the points.
All right, so this is how this is gonna work here, guys. We got 2 rounds. Well, we're gonna go. Yeah, we're gonna go 2 rounds. 20 picks. We're gonna do 2026 class.
Maybe we will do the 26.
You know,
we're gonna start with the 101, and Greinberg is gonna have the 101.
Is the 102 gonna go after that?
Yeah, what do you guys think Greinberg's going to do? We talked about Love. We talked about Mendoza. Is he going to be edgy and pick Mendoza, or do you think he's just going to go with Jeremiah?
Dude, I think he's going to go with Jeremiah Smith.
He's smart.
I don't know. Mike is roboting. We're filibustering right now. But, hey, how about this? We're going to go – let's assume and just exercise. Mike does Jeremiah Love. And who's got the 102? Is it you, Chev?
Chev.
Me, yeah.
What direction do you think you'd like to go, and why? And we'll get
Gospel George Pickens,
right.
Otherwise known as Carnell Tate, the Ohio State University wide receiver, first-round wide receiver of 2026. Yeah, it is. I have a type. I make no bones about it. I have a weakness for this type of wide receiver, and I will make no bones about it today. So, yes, give me Gospel George. Give me Carnell Tate with the 102.
And I don't think that that's a bad pick. And this is coming from somebody that in their home league draft took George Pickens with the 101.
Dude, there's just so many similarities to his game. And then, you at a certain point, man, at a certain point in time, you just have to helmet scout just enough. Like if you were in a D lineman league back in the early 2000s, and a University of Tennessee D lineman was coming out, you go get him.
Yeah, and we have a saying: we don't helmet scout unless it's Ohio State wide receivers.
Yeah, and Iowa tight ends. Shout out to Luke Lachey. Mike, stop playing and put Jeremiah Love in your spot.
I will. Sorry, guys. I had to peace out because I guess the bandwidth is having an issue here with my.
It's a narrow urethra.
It's a narrow. Okay, I got to find Jeremiah Love. There it is. Okay, Biggs, you're up on the clock here, and who you got as your 103?
I'm taking Jordan Tyson.
Jordan Tyson. All right, interesting pick there. Okay, there we go. Why Jordan Tyson, Biggs?
Well, looking at him versus Mekhi Lemon, those are basically like the two primary wide receivers after Carnell Tate. Some people have Jordan Tyson ahead of Carnell Tate. I don't agree with them. I think Tyson becomes the de facto pick there. It's just going best player available, and I like his size profile better than I like Mekhi Lemon's. Well, Mekhi Lemon he's not big and he's not fast. So you want to be big or you want to be fast, and he's neither of those. He's going to be productive in the NFL, but I like Jordan Tyson better.
I like it.
So this is just a very appealing point of the draft where if you're on the clock at 104 and neither Mekhi Lemon nor Fernando Mendoza has gone off the board, you ought to, because one, you're sitting there, I'm like, man, I should 104 for Mekhi Lemon, this is crazy. 104 for Fernando Mendoza is crazy as well. I'm sitting there thinking, like, can I trade with the 105 if they are team need? They want to narrow in and zero in on somebody because they need a quarterback. Even if I go to the 106 and I'm like, hey, I'm not going to make the wrong choice, I'll just continue on. with maybe somebody like Casey Concepcion and go to a range, because I'm sitting there like, man, I got so many. It's like in Jim Carrey, throw me a spear in Ace Ventura 2, and you got both in both thighs, and it's like Fernando Mendoza, Makai Lemon. I feel horrible clicking any of these buttons. But I will just say, if I'm reading the board I'm just going to say this is a quarterback needy team. The cheapest time to get a quarterback is in a startup. It's in a rookie draft. And then every now and then you trickle and get lucky on the Malik Willises, the Mac Jones, the Daniel Jones. There's just a retread of quarterbacks who find their way. Hopefully it'll be Anthony Richardson this year, that just kind of come along, relearn the ropes, and get things right. So I love Makai Lemon. I have him very highly, but I really have to go with that quarterback position and Fernando Mendoza. So I feel like it's falling to me, both Lemon and Mendoza, and I love Mendoza. I love what you guys said about your picks. You have conviction. A lot of people, Biggs, had Jordan Tyson as a number one wide receiver. Would you say, do you gentlemen both, what would you say attributes the less enthusiasm towards Jordan Tyson in that tier, in that earlier clump of Lemon, Tate, Tyson, and maybe if you'll entertain me, an NC State fan, Casey Concepcion, is it the injuries, or is there anything else that makes you hesitant, or the crowd hesitant on selecting Jordan Tyson?
Well, as far as ranking, I think the rise of Carnell Tate in everybody's estimation. Carnell Tate, okay, Jordan Tyson and Makai Lemon entered the 2025 season as the wide receiver 1 in their program. Carnell Tate was looked at as the wide receiver 2. So when you start like going through the season, you're looking at, okay, our primaries are Jeremiah Smith, but he's not coming out for a while, Makai Lemon and Jordan Tyson. Then you get through the season, and it's like Carnell Tate is real, you guys. So he's getting steam. Jordan Tyson has that injury history. And then Makai Lemon is, like I said, short and slow. Looking at your pick at the 104 of Mendoza, and based on, the pressure point of the draft being, scarcity at quarterback, I think that's a great pick right there. And if I was in that position and and Makai Lemon is ostensibly like the 104, there's the next 6 guys that I like more than I like Makai Lemon.
Jesus. All right.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's me, because I'm going to go in and I'm going to jump in because I've been disconnected for various reasons. And I'm going to take this bonus pick here, guys, if you will. Can you let me have the first one?
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, because I'm going to talk about my guy, Makai Lemon, then, because I have him as my wide receiver 1 in this class for a couple of reasons, but I like what I see. He's going to be productive right out of the gate, I think. I've seen a couple games here on tape from him for the past 2 seasons, and what jumps out to me is how clean his game is. Every route has intent. Every step has purpose, and every touch has the potential to flip the field. And, I know he's a slot receiver, and sometimes those guys don't translate right away in the NFL, but I think he's going to, in the new NFL now, those guys, they're good. And, he wins with timing, leverage. He's got that football IQ. I like his elite competition level that he's been showcasing over the last couple of years. He played well against Notre Dame, 133 yards and a touchdown. 1,400 all-purpose yards this year, 3.02 yards per route run, which is a really, really efficient, especially in a power 4 wide receiver here. He's been awesome. So I like what I see here, and at this value, 105, I think this is a great spot for him. That's a value to me. I have him ahead of Jordan Tyson because of what, Coach maybe alluded to there, that injury-prone situation. He's hasn't played a full season in a couple of years here. So I'm liking Makai Lemon over that. I think the role is going to be more insulated, and I think the longevity might be there too.
That's fair. That's why we do this.
So why don't we put Lemon down? And who do we think is the next?
I mean, are we going? We're starting back with Gromberg, or are we going 106 here, and we're going Boner again?
Bonus.
We're going bonus.
Bonus. Bonus again. Yes. Oh, I guess we
You
can't
just
go
made a
bonus.
boner.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Uh, somebody nominate somebody.
Emmett Johnson.
Okay.
Dog, man, I was gonna get him, man. You knew, you dirty dog, man. I was gonna take him, man. All right, beautiful. Hey,
All
Yeah.
right. So Makai Lemon, Greinberg, and then Emmett
Okay.
Johnson.
Okay, I'll add it.
but you did
Sorry,
me a
guys.
favor because that was gonna take
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing next.
torn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reach around that elbow, bud.
Yes, sir. You know where I'm gonna get.
All right.
So, Mike, you put down Makai Lemon, please, for the board, and Chev has posited just a great bonus pick because this is our 5th drafter, and they're going back to back. Emmett Johnson. Chev, speak the good word on Emmett Johnson.
All right, let's talk about it, fellas. So you've got a guy that has the Nightcrawler-esque lateral agility that I like. There's shades of LaShawn McCoy and like the shiftiness to his game. Not only that, but there's a complete pass catching profile. Then on top of that, you've got a guy that's setting school records. Like he's the only guy to have 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving in a game. He's the only running back to ever record 2 receiving touchdowns in a game. And I mean, this was just, when you watch him, it just makes you feel like you're watching someone who is tailor-made for today's game. Just a guy who's more than capable in space, but also gets the tough yards, but can score from anywhere. So for me, Emmett Johnson's been one of my biggest risers. Like Jeremiah has said some pretty spot on and accurate things. And I was mad that I didn't think of him myself first, but he's the type of guy that if you miss out on, going back to the class of 2023, like if you missed out on Bijan Robinson, if you missed out on Jahmyr Gibbs, but you can get in the back of the first round and get Devon Achane, like you still feel real good right now. And that's to me where we're kind of headed. This class isn't nearly as deep. I don't think Jeremiah Love is quite as good of a prospect as Gibbs or Bijan, but I do feel like Emmett Johnson has legitimate top 10 running back upside if he's going to go in and get the majority of the work. So there we go. My 106 in the bonus spot. Very important.
The
Make sure
spot. Yeah. Bonus spot.
Coach, take your boy.
Yeah, it's going to be Casey Concepcion. I fell in love with him his freshman year against Marshall. They won 48-41. He went off as a true freshman. Anything close near to the line of scrimmage, there were some accusations. I know we've talked with different people about Casey Concepcion on this show before and talked about how he had to be schemed up. Well, he absolutely proved this year with Texas A&M that it doesn't matter. You can scheme him up or have him just ball out. He can go up and get the ball with ease. Beauty that I see with him is his in-breaking slot routes. He puts on the turbo jets a lot like prime Odell Beckham Jr. When you remember, Odell Beckham Jr. would catch the ball over the middle from Eli Manning, and he would just dart up the field. Like he would just accelerate, and it was just such a gift that he had, and he was gone. And the yak ability that was there. You do the same thing if it's Josh Allen or Brock Purdy connecting with Casey Concepcion, he's going to take it to the house. And he's got more skill than somebody like DJ Moore. Like DJ Moore always had that vacuum quality where he just sucks up the field as he's running and all that green grass is gone. And before you know it, you see the 5 and then the goal line. That's a lot like how Casey Concepcion is. He's shorthanded, a lot pound for pound physically better than you may think. And a lot of what happened in his career, his sophomore year, NC State's quarterback room was trying to get figured out. His junior year, dealing with the quarterback situation there, it was just off track of CJ Bailey to where there were some lost years for Casey Concepcion. And you thought, hey, that freshman year was just an anomaly and maybe he's undersized. And he's got to be schemed up. A lot of like the junk that people were talking about, Luther Burden having to be schemed up all off season. Look how much that has changed. I am super high on Casey Concepcion. He had a redemption year this year. I'm glad he moved to another school. I love NC State players, but I love when they move on and go to the next stage. So him having to move on was great and best for him, and I'm excited to draft him. I'd be pumped up almost any team he goes to, but what I'm seeing mocked, Bills, 49ers, sign me up, man.
All right, man. Biggs, got anything to add to that?
No, I love the pick. You got to get your guy.
Got to get your guy. Who do you got as your next guy, buddy?
So, one of the things that has been thrown about over the last, since Dynasty really started, is player profiles and the kinds of things that hit as far as, here's a running back who's 225 pounds or more. He has a better chance of finishing with a top 12 Dynasty season or fantasy season than guys who are undersized. Now, that argument has been under attack over the last few years with James Cook and Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs and et cetera. But I still love the profile. So when a guy is coming at 5'9", 225 pounds, built like the muscle hamster Doug Martin, I'm going to go Jonah Coleman, Washington running back.
Jonah Coleman. We love him. Love him. I love him.
Yeah.
A neat thing about Jonah Coleman, last 3 years straight, 20 receptions, 26, 23, 31. All right,
Yep.
We're not talking about a woman's size. We're talking about receptions.
Heyo.
Yeah, like just only one fumble and 400 career touches. Incredible. Love it.
A 3-down skill set. He's a willing pass blocker. I know Chev has talked about some things he'd like to see crafted for Jonah Coleman, but you talk about what's going to keep Jonah Coleman on the field. I love this pick. Very big fan of Jonah Coleman here. Great pick.
Banger. He's going to bang in those touchdowns. Like he's got the ball security, and they like him in the red zone. He's got the size. Like just going to be a bowling ball, like Big said. Chev, what do you got to say about Jonah?
I mean, I tagged you in that video that I just dropped.
Yeah,
Love it.
1.73
yards per route run in 2025, and he took that next step forward as a pass catcher. The missed tackles forced and the explosive runs dipped off a little bit this year. The efficiency dropped, but I think a lot of that had to do with, just some games where he was clearly hurt and trying to gut it out. When he was healthy in the bowl game again, you saw him, you saw the full Monty in terms of Jonah Coleman. Ironically enough, I do think that there is some David Montgomery to his game with the ability to run through people or make people miss. So really excited to see where he lands. He's my RB3 in this class right now. He was my RB2 in season, but Emmett Johnson has emerged. So he's my RB3. Big fan of Jonah Coleman.
Sweet. Yeah, me too. All right, Chev, who do you got as your next pick then? If he probably got sniped there.
Well, I wanted to go a little bit different direction here. And there's not been one single tight end mentioned.
Lake McCree.
Not quite.
Oh.
There it is. You bring that behemoth, former Idaho Player of the Year, Kenyon Sadiq, Oregon tight end, entering into the NFL draft. Like, the physical tools and skill set are there. I've heard people say that he's undersized. He's listed at 6'3", 244 pounds. And he looks like the SpongeBob meme with the huge arms where his torso is not touching the ground. Like, I don't understand. This is the new prototype move tight end. He's able to play in line. You can line him up in the slot. Like, he's a blend of Colston Loveland and, Tyler Warren in terms of his usage and the way that he can be deployed. And I think that he is a future superstar. I've said some really aggressive things. I stand by those things. I will pound the table for Kenyon Sadiq being a future superstar in the NFL. So I feel like getting him here at 110 made me absolutely giddy.
I love Kenyon Sadiq. I have a Darren Waller comp on him, and I traded for him in Campus to Canton, got rid of George Kittle and got Kenyon Sadiq, and now Sadiq is entering the draft and Kittle's out for the year.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
There you go. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes you have to do that when you're trying to get the Devy championship and the Dynasty side all in one. So sometimes you got to make a move. And I had obviously enough depth to make that move because I won Devy and I finished second in the Dynasty So, oh well,
Ooh,
1 and
flex on.
2 could have done the double threat. So, yeah, it's okay. You could keep rubbing those ones in, and I'll keep winning. So, what's gonna happen here is, yes. Sadiq is great, man. I love the pick. You know, he's got a 4.55 40-yard dash. I think that's in the upwards of in the 93rd percentile. QB rating when targeted at 139. I mean, that's incredible stuff. Great vertical, 365 power. That's huge. So I'm looking at him as a great pick here, Chev. And now you dried up the quarterback, the tight end position. So, in a class where I think is pretty strong at wide receiver, I'm going to do a double tap here, and I'm going to go Denzel Boston, and I'm going to go Chris Brazzell as a double tap here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Got to get those.
I love both of those guys so much.
Yeah, I mean, Boston, the prototype boundary X receiver, he's going to be what offenses covet. He may not be like that elite form, but he's got 6'4", strong hands, elite body control. He wins in areas all over the field. And I'm looking at the intermediate windows, contested catch situations, red zone. He's going to be a guy, especially in the right situation, the right landing spot is going to excel. Like I said, 6'4", 210 pounds, QB rating when targeted, 111, really good, 63 receptions, 807 yards, 9 touchdowns in 2004, which led Washington in all major receiving categories back-to-back, 120-yard games versus Northwestern and Rutgers, top 25 overall prospect. I'm liking his situation, so Denzel Boston was a no-brainer for me. And another guy that, is a similar frame, similar styles, 6'5", 200 pounds, Chris Brazzell, but he's fast, lightning fast for his size, 4.48. I'm looking at a QB rating when targeted 120, 177 yards and 3 touchdowns versus Georgia, and 90% deep threat rating when targeted. So this is a really good big prospect that is going to be a guy that I'm going to be targeting, especially if with a good landing spot. Superflex, he'll be in your lineup probably pretty weekly, and that X receiver, red zone dominance, both those guys that I mentioned here could sneak into the first round in the right situation.
Nice. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I'm relieved here. Extremely relieved. Because I'm going Trinidad Chambliss.
Did you just relieve yourself?
Almost.
Yeah.
Trinidad. Cool.
Yeah.
Consider me Miles Davis.
So
I love my niece in Trinidad.
You're not scared that he's gonna
legal battle
win
here.
his appeal?
I don't think he's going to win his appeal. I think if the NCAA gave a crap enough to, deny the appeal actually, then they're not, I don't think they're going to be moved unless they're going to get, big time sued. Like, I don't think Diego Pavia is going to win either. So, but that's neither here nor there. Let me talk to you. Let me spread the gospel about Trinidad Chambliss.
Trinidad, we love it.
So Winadad is what we'll call him from now on. So I have a soft spot for small school guys. This is a guy who won the national championship at the Division II level, beating my alma mater in the semifinals last year, and then makes a massive bet on himself with no guarantees that he'll even see the field and transfers up to Ole Miss. Well, Austin Simmons gets hurt, and this dude just absolutely runs Ole Miss to the best season since 1962, when you could only have one color of players on your team. So, like, I am thrilled about being able to get him at the 202 here with my third pick. Beyond that, I see shades of Russell Wilson, prime Russell Wilson to his game. The elusivity, just the general it factor of like, hey, I'm going to make the play. He has the requisite arm talent. He's played enough college football, whether you want to count the Division II stuff or not. I do, because I played Division II football. So I really believe in this dude. I think he's going to be a steal. I think anytime that you could get him in the second round of a rookie draft, like you're betting on like nuclear upside. And as a guy who has supreme confidence, I'm not even going to talk about the stats. I just believe in this player. Like, get your dude. The toothpaste can't go back in the tube with this guy. So my feet are taped to the bicycle on Trinidad Chambliss, and I will answer any and all questions at this time.
Let's ride.
I love that. Let's ride.
Well, here's
Let's
a question,
ride.
Chad. Compared to, so for the last 2 years, you've been able
What are
to
you
get
doing?
Bo Nix and Jackson
Jackson
Dart
Dart.
in the early second round pick. Sorry, I didn't know what Hanks was talking about. The first couple of picks in the second round, great values. How would you compare him to their fantasy output and outcome versus Trinidad Chambliss, Windadad Chambliss outlook?
It's a little bit more cloudy because you could portend the rushing upside for Bo Nix. You could do the same. You did the same thing with Jackson Dart. I mean, Biggs was screaming until he was blue in the face about how quarterbacks who hit 600 rushing yards in college are typically turned in fantasy QB1 seasons. I can't remember the exact thing, Biggs. Don't shoot me. But
You're good.
you were very, very, very adamant about that being a thing. And then we came out and saw, Bo Nix rush for 430 yards his rookie year. This year, Jackson Dart had the second most rushing touchdowns of any quarterback not named Josh Allen. And, those things immediately translate. He's going to be a weapon with his legs as well. Again, prime Russell Wilson was giving you 500 to 600 yards, and he's third all time, I believe, in rushing yards by a quarterback. This kid can do the same thing. He's just a little bit slighter framed at 6'1". He's probably closer to like 6 foot, 200 pounds, but he's got the ability. He's got the mental makeup and the wherewithal to go into a situation and absolutely thrive. So yeah, I think that people aren't really aware of how good I believe he is, but it's going to start to come out once these teams and GMs sit down and really get to pick his brain and see what he's been up to for the last few years. Like it's real good. As I've gotten familiar with, his D2 collegiate program, Ferris State, it's just a lot of high character individuals. And, if you saw the end of the game, his former coach was at the game and they embraced and gave a hug. So you see that this dude just has an impact on programs. And I don't think that you get this outcome if Austin Simmons is your quarterback for Ole Miss. Like, this is just a special player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I love him.
Ferris State is a wagon. I don't know if you saw, but there was this ICE arrest in Minnesota. A guy got pulled out of Target. He was wearing a Ferris State sweatshirt. I chuckled.
Oh,
all right.
Wait, you caught some Ferris State action out there on the West Coast?
On the front. No, in Minnesota. On the front lines. It was a kid getting pulled out of Target.
Oh man, I almost bought a Ferris State shirt, but I feel like I just have so much respect for what Tony Anisi, or however you say his name, has built up there. Like, if you haven't and you like football, like that is, it's a great. I respect it. Like they've earned the right to be whatever. But enough D2 talk, man. Biggs, what's your pick here?
So I'm gonna go for tight end scarcity and go with Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. He's very consistent. He led Vanderbilt in catches in the last 2 years. And if there's anything we know about dynasty fantasy football tight end position, it's that you want to be a target leader on your team. Now, obviously, that hasn't translated to the NFL yet, but he's that profile that can be that team leader. First team All-SEC the last 2 years. He won the 2025 Mackey Award. Let's go back and look through some of the previous Mackey Award winners, and we will find guys who are high up there in the tight end fantasy production. So Eli Stowers is my dude.
Yeah. Coach?
Yeah, if you look at the board, if you just kind of notice observation, it's wild. We're at the 204, and we're only now going on our fourth running back. and that's going to be for me Jadarian Price, Notre Dame. I have him as the third best running back in this class. My flip-flop was Chev, where Jonah Coleman is 4. A lot of things are going right and good for Jonah Coleman, but Jadarian Price, I think, is going to test phenomenally at the Combine. The hype is going to pick up for him. There's kick return ability, 12 kick returns last season, 450 yards, total 200-yard runs by Jadarian Price. The one question that I'm going to have, that everyone's going to have, is what can he do in the receiving game? Because the receiving game isn't necessarily there. But then again, how much of that is accusations against somebody like a Ken Walker coming into the NFL, and then Ken Walker ended up being able to catch passes? Maybe we just don't know because there was such a time share that was fully in favor, or more so in favor, of the elite Jeremiah Love. So for me, Jadarian Price does a lot of what Audric Estime did at Notre Dame, follows his assignment, but he's got a lot more athleticism, and he can get to the next level. Jadarian Price will follow all his blocks, go where he needs to be, follow the outside zone run, and then when it comes down to, in the NFL, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to run through a bleep's face. You're going to have to go through a linebacker, a DB, or you're going to have to juke him. You're going to have to do something. You can't have your teammates do everything for you, which sometimes it might be like, oh, well, you're in just the perfect system in college to just get these numbers and stat compile. Well, with Jadarian Price, where he separates himself from somebody like Audric Estime, is he creates the yards himself. He gets that next level because he's able to juke the defender and physically run through him, do whatever he has to do. Good vision in spaces, understands there's going to be blocks in openings, and he understands where his blocks are letting up to where he needs to run to openings. And not every running back can see that. And then, of course, they get tackled at that point of contact. But because of the vision that Jadarian Price has, he's able to extend plays and yardage. I would love to see him go to a team like the Minnesota Vikings, who would have just a much better Jordan Mason. And he's really a player who's going to get some hype. I am firmly high on Emmett Johnson. I don't see Jadarian Price encroaching on the 2 spot, but I see Jadarian Price shifting and fomenting in people's minds because of what he does in the combine process all the way through the NFL draft process.
Love it. All right. Coach, why don't you do another one here because you need to get your bonus pick in.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, at this point, let's go. All right. So, does this team need more wide receiver, or does this team need more running back? What would you prefer?
It's your pick, buddy. You're the man. You got the keys to the car here, man.
All right. It's going to be. Let's go with Elijah Surratt. We get Elijah Surratt. He's just a smaller Mike Evans. All right. His nickname
looks like Mike Evans. Look at this guy.
And it's funny. It's a red jersey. It's a number 13. Am I going crazy? But he does a lot of things on the boundary, between the seams and the boundary. He just has this ability to cut both ways and get open at will. He has late hands. He has strong hands, body control. The ball doesn't have to be perfect. He adjusts his ball in the air. I would really love to see. Can he be, or whatever the first Raiders pick is, can he be tied to somebody like Fernando Mendoza? And, of course, any of those teams, those first 40 picks, there's kind of this hack where if you go up to about pick 40, skill position-wise, those players are basically as good as a first-round pick. Elijah Surratt, I really like him. He sees the ball into his body. He maximizes space with trajectory of the ball. The outer boundary, again, as I spoke to, is all there for him. He's a proper boundary X-Pro receiver. And the crazy thing is he had very to little to no hype, and Kirk Cincinnati found him. He followed him to Indiana, and I think there's a lot more to write for somebody like Elijah Surratt. So, I'm going to go with him in this pick.
All right, and then we lose Greinberg again. I'm going to take the bonus on this one because I haven't yet. So I'm going to go with Jeremy Bernard from Alabama. I had some notes written up, but it's going to take too long to analyze them. I really like his profile. He's 6'1", 205 pounds. He's comped in some places to JSN. And when I say that, let me also throw out the caveat that he's also comped to Jalen Polk and Brendan Rice in that same vein. I like him as a possession receiver. He's very, very good at intermediate routes, and he has great hands. Well traveled. I think Alabama was like his third program or something like that. Led Alabama in receiving with 862 yards last year. Had 7 touchdowns. Very capable blocker, which is going to get him on the field real early, and I like that. So Jeremy Bernard is my pick with the last bonus.
Bonus.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time keeping up here.
Sorry.
I went with Mike. I went with Elijah Surratt, and then Jeremy Bernard was the next one.
Yeah, keep going. I'm trying to get the screen back up.
It rolls back to me, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, at this point, I've got a player that I like. I don't want to, do whatever they call it, board talk, where I drop a player's name for somebody else to drop. So I don't want to spoil it. So based on what this board has given us, quarterback position, if he goes 21, like I read to the Steelers, Ty Simpson, just by virtue of, hey, I can get a player at this part of the draft. Are we at the 207 or 208?
I don't know.
I believe we're at the 208, and I think I have the 209, and Mike has the 210.
So if I'm at the 208 and this is going to be a starting quarterback, just by virtue of what the run out shot in the 4-year and then the 5th-year option, anything that could happen, I think he's raw. I think he's going to have a rough time in his first year. But the beauty is there's ebbs and flows. There's perception of other people's mindsets of players. Yeah. So this is strictly a pick where I really don't care for Ty Simpson, but at this price point, and based on what I can do off of other people's sentiments, I'm going to find my way to click him here, even though I have Fernando Mendoza. Nothing like getting depth at any point. I mean, think about what happened. I mean, I had a team this year that had Daniel Jones, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, Joe Burrow, and Sam Darnold. And I was able to patch it through the entire season, but I thought I had so much depth I could trade players away at the quarterback position in a Superflex Dynasty League. So there's nothing wrong with getting some depth here in what is a weaker class. So if he gets round 1 draft capital, and then what's even crazier, which I don't think this would happen where Ty Simpson would then be the 207, but if somehow, because Dante Moore left, teams get drunk for getting their guy, they can move into the half of the first round. And then we're talking about the inflated price in these rookie mocks. Then I'd really have a decision to make because I don't really love him that much. Maybe that would just be a perception thing again because of a higher steep payout draft capital price. So, gentlemen, I said all that about Ty Simpson. I don't love the player, but I think I love the pick for the game theory of it.
Yeah. That's where we start to get to historically in the middle of the second round. Is like the guy that everybody loves is gone, and now you start to have to analyze what's happening from a whole bunch of other filters. What's your team build? Are you trying to build running back depth? Running back is always like something that you should prioritize in rookie drafts, stacking as many as you possibly can. But there's still some wide receivers out there who have some talent, but maybe you don't like them as much. Tight ends are kind of like off the board at this point, but there still might be a couple out there who, people know about and might want to look at. And then you have the quarterback position where you're banking on Ty Simpson. I have a couple others in mind that I think are going to have better careers than Ty Simpson, even though they might not get the same draft capital he does. So all of that has to be weighed, and that comes usually beginning in about the middle of the second round. A deeper draft, it's the beginning of the third round.
Your question, gentlemen. Ty Simpson is still on the board. I know we're not trading in this instance. What do you think you could fire off in the trade for picks? What would be your move? Would you try and get 27 picks? What's the best you could get?
Yeah.
Always 27.
Yeah, that class is going to be, from a depth perspective, I think we could go, much like we said that the what to do would be to acquire multiple, seconds and thirds in the 25 class. I feel like that's going to be the move in 27 because 27s are going to be, Bitcoin. 27 first are going to be Bitcoin, excuse me. And then, but you might be able to get, there's going to be such good depth. All the talent in this class can't go in the first round. People are going to be fighting over Jeremiah Smith, and then you got Kawan Lacey, and then you've got you've got Ahmad Hardy who's probably going to come out, and then not to mention all the quarterbacks, like the quarterbacks being punted to 2027. So that's going to push good players down the board. So if you can trade out and try to get a 27, but
Yeah.
I'm super.
That'll
go
be
ahead,
the Dante Moore, Archie Manning class. Like
Lindor's.
Or sellers.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
bro.
going to be a bunch. I want
All
to
right, guys. So where do we end up here after? Nope.
We
So
went with I went with Ty Simpson, and we talked up. Hey, this is value at the board, game theory at the quarterback position, and then we even ventured off at the end there. Hey, how do we trade out of it if we're sitting there and people would be hot on maybe taking advantage of quarterback, even though we don't love Ty Simpson per se.
Yeah. So real quickly before I preface, I'm going to preface my pick with I mentioned the John Mackey Award winners from 2017: Mark Andrews, T.J. Hawkinson, Harrison Bryant, Kyle Pitts, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers twice, Tyler Warren, and Eli Stowers. So I think you can't go wrong with picking that. Anyway, my guy is going to be Zachariah Branch from University of Georgia. He's a little fella. 5'10", 180 pounds. I comp him to Jalen Lane. Does a lot of, not Jalen Lane. Why can't I think of his name from the Texans? Jalen Knoll.
Yes.
My comp for Zachariah Branch is Jalen Knoll. He's going to work out of the slot. He's going to return some kicks. And he's just a shifty little fella. And I like that kind of profile. Let's go.
That pisses me off.
All right.
Sorry.
Golly. Good job.
I'll trade you Zachariah Branch for Carnell Tate.
I will trade you a knuckle sandwich when I see you in Mobile. Oh man, that's such a good pick. That's two
pick. Snipes, but yours was better.
I'm respectfully, so there's pivotal moments that I've talked about where you see a guy and you just know that guy's got something that that they don't make a whole bunch of in football players today. So it never really hit the way that I thought. I thought that he had the type of upside of like a back in the day like Joe McKnight, like that they would use him in that way with USC. And it never really happened in the emergence of Jacoby Lane. And, the emergence of Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon kind of pushed him out the door with Lincoln Riley. He lands at Georgia, career high. Even though 53 of his targets were at or within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, I still think that this is a guy who has like Luther Burden-esque ability after the catch. Nice. And it's going to take some work. He does need some refinement as a receiver, but the physical tools are going to be too much to deny for him to not be a contributor on an NFL team. And when the testing numbers come out, I think that he's going to be a guy that vaults up, much like he's like Arian Smith if Arian Smith could catch the football. Like I think he has that type of speed. So really excited to see how this works out with him. Hopefully we get him somewhere where they're willing to work with what they have and mold the clay instead of trying to make the clay fit into whatever the mold is. So I'm really, really excited about that pick. It sucks that you did it, but I get it.
It happens.
So we've got the Canva. Yeah, that's where we are. And it's my pick, and I'm going to go with Jacoby Lane.
There it is.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a really big fan. Third USC wide receiver off the board. That's wild.
So with Jacoby Lane, I have a type. I started off the draft talking about that type, and Jacoby Lane fits the archetype as well. We've discussed at length about what his skill set is. He's not quite as fluid as a Denzel Boston, but he has the ability to play the ball in the air. He plays the ball in the third dimension as good as anybody. And, the 50-50 balls or 70-30 balls. And he took a step forward as a route runner this year, defining and, honing in on the details of these routes. So for me, it's a really exciting pick. I was thinking that somebody would take him before this, but I am thrilled that did not happen. Other guys in consideration here for me, Michael Trigg, Jamari Taylor, who bigs we will see at the Senior Bowl this coming, in a few weeks, and Mike Washington, who will also be at the Senior Bowl. Arkansas.
Pig.
So Chev, you go Mike Washington. So I was thinking he would be third round. Are you thinking late round 2 on Mike Washington?
I'm gonna be early.
Yeah.
Like I'll take the approach that I took with Brashard Smith, and I would be completely disingenuous if I didn't mention DeMond Claiborne here. So DeMond Claiborne out of Wake Forest reminds me a lot of Brashard Smith. Really excited to see what shakes out with him.
Yeah.
In the evaluation process, because that's another guy where you put the ball in his hands and then he just starts chewing up yardage and making people look silly in the open field. So a lot of Brashard Smith to his game. If you haven't, please go. Brashard Smith's like a dead asset sitting on people's benches. Don't send me trades for him unless you're going to overpay. So, DeMond Claiborne. Who all did I say? DeMond Claiborne, Michael Trigg, Jamari Taylor. All those guys were in consideration here, like for this pick for me.
Well, with Claiborne, I really see for this class, it's very vivid and clear to me. It just stands out. If you miss on Emmett Johnson, go out and get yourself some DeMond Claiborne, just for the fact that you can get some of that electric lightning in a back. And we love these archetypes. We talked about Emmett Johnson with Gibbs, Achane, Travion Henderson. Well, hey, we love Tyjae Spears. Love somebody like a Brashard Smith. So when you have somebody like a DeMond Claiborne, well, think about the fact that the player may not hit that ceiling of the big 3 that I mentioned prior, but hey, you could be a pop plus Tyjae Spears who gets opportunity. And we've seen what Tyjae Spears does with opportunity. Recall not this season, but the last season where he had 3 games where he was like a top 12 running back. Then he got hurt. There was an opening there. So we could have a patch of games where that pick would absolutely pay off. If you get a handful of games where you're a top 12 or RB2 or better from DeMond Claiborne, man, sign me up.
I want to shout out Greinberg real quick for putting this graphic together because he worked really hard on it. And you could see that there are 20 spots. So he had to put 20 names with 20 pictures. And then Chev and I go in and take guys that he wasn't prepped for with Zachariah Branch and Jacoby Lane. so there's still some guys on the board. The Penn State twins, Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton is there. Brandon Sorsby. Carson Beck. I'm going to be a little bit higher on Carson Beck than other people. If we're looking at the top of the 3rd round and I'm looking for a quarterback in that round, I'm going to be looking at Carson Beck and Taylon Green. Taylon Green out of Arkansas has that rushing upside cheat code. And I'm going to be scouting him down in Mobile very, very closely. So that's my other guys.
Yeah, that's a fantastic call. If people aren't familiar with Taylon Green yet, University of Arkansas quarterback, ironically enough, teammates. You don't have to do that every time that.
Yes, I do.
I promise you don't. I don't want it.
Hey, gentlemen,
it'd be like if Jeremiah howled every time we mentioned NC State.
He should.
Hey, gentlemen, what are your impressions of the board? Any, it's formative process, right? And you're like, hey, wait a second, could I go back and go do this? Or do you love how the board played out? It's funny how this is just going to shake and change all throughout the next couple of months. What are just your initial impressions?
Yeah, we definitely need to screenshot this for posterity. But I love all of them. Mike's team with Denzel Boston and Jeremiah Love at the top. I love that. Sadiq and Tate at the top, and then you got the lottery ticket and Chambliss. Then my guys go Jordan Tyson, Jonah Coleman, and the number one tight end. And then Fernando Mendoza, Casey Concepcion, Jadarian Price, and that explosiveness, that's like crazy good. Mekhi Lemon, Emmett Johnson, Elijah Surratt, like we did good, and then Jeremy Bernard, we did good putting together the bonus team based off our brainstorms and stuff. Chris Brazell scares me just because of that orange jersey. I can't lie. I try not to helmet scout unless it's Ohio State wide receivers, but it's hard to get to buy in on Tennessee wide receivers because every time you find one that fits a good profile, they just break your heart.
And I think too, with Brazell, when you go down and look and see, and this will help later, can inform earlier. When you see Zachariah Branch and Jacoby Lane go back to back like they do, is there a part of you that sits there and says, well, in retrospect, if I got the 201, why don't I go Winidad, Chambliss, and then wait for the tier of Branch and Lane?
Absolutely.
So that starts the machinations of, okay, we've seen it put on the board here. Let me grab just a scoop earlier, and then you're doing tier-based drafting, but you're warming up and figuring out now looking back, okay, well, we could shift here and then tier down over. So that's just one that I see when you point out Brazell like that. I see if you just shifted just a little bit to Chambliss and then come away with one of Lane or Branch, you're cooking with gas.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, boys. 1 hour with some technical difficulties on my behalf of just trying to hold it all together. But yeah,
get it together, Greinberg.
Next time we'll have our producer around. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. But yeah, we'll talk then. But guys,
are you implying something?
No, I'm not implying nothing.
Oh, okay.
There's 2-ply toilet paper.
There's 2-ply and there's 3-ply and there's 4-ply and 5-ply. That's what we are. 5-ply. Hopefully, we'll have all of us together next week. Yeah, let's do it. All right, Biggs, send us home.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, thank you for watching and listening, Fantasy Sports Advice Network, the Dynasty Pulse. We have content coming for you all preseason, all rookie season. Chev and I are going to be at the Senior Bowl in Mobile. I and somebody else, other people are going to be at the Combine, sending you interviews and video and scouting. And then the draft in April. I know Greinberg is going to be down there with me. It's going to be a blast. So this is the content that helps you win leagues. This is the edge that you need. You watch us all in the first quarter of the year. You get our January, February, March, and April scouting. I guess that's the first third. In that time, you learn things. You learn the little nuggies that you need going into your dynasty drafts, going into your startups, going into your rookie drafts, going into your redraft leagues. You'll get the little nugs, and that'll help you win.
Yeah.
We hope you win.
We hope you win, folks. Yeah, we'll see you next
win.
week. Peace.